As Formula One goes racing in Silverstone this weekend, the driver market is, or at least the rumours attached to the driver market, is heating up. Hello and welcome to Lights Out. I'm Irene Marie van der Walt, and today we are joined by Adriaan Nel to discuss the possibilities and the permutations in the driver market for 2027, Max Verstappen being the loosest of the cannons there. Then we also have a look at the Austrian Grand Prix and the penalties given and notoriously not given over the past weekend. And then we look ahead to Silverstone this coming weekend. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
Adriaan Nel joining me now to discuss the newest developments in the Formula One driver market. I think the one guy who's going to be key is Max Verstappen.
Oh yeah, whatever he's going to do, what's going to happen is he's going to open floodgates.
Yes, I think Hamilton-esque floodgates. I think
yeah, pretty much the whole field's going to go.
I think we've rarely seen a silly season in the way that we did when Hamilton left Mercedes. Which obviously the talk about Verstappen moving now is kind of, there's a clause in his contract that kind of gives rise to all of this, that if he's not second by the middle of the season, which is fast approaching, he can leave at the end of the year. Do we think he actually will leave Red Bull?
Well, from the turn of pace that we saw this weekend from the car, like something's happening there, which is working at least. But is it enough though? Is it enough to keep that man happy?
I mean, you know, he's a four-time world champion. He's not satisfied with second best. Given that that was their big kind of upgrades package, do we think that this is enough to keep him?
It's a very tough question. I mean, he's got such a long relationship like Red Bull from his junior career till where he is now. I mean, he's always been there, but like, is he going to take this leap to go to someone else? Or is he going to like endure it now until the end of the year next year and then maybe then do the shift? We don't know.
Mm-hmm. But then also he's been teasing for a considerable amount of time and move out of Formula One entirely.
Well, it's not even a tease. We saw it at the Nürburgring 24 and he enjoyed it so much. And the amount of people that, like, the event sold out like the first time in forever, I think, which is crazy. So the interest is always with Max and where he's going. But is he going to do WEC? Or I thought he's going to go IndyCar. I doubt it. But WEC is on the cards for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing that I kind of pointed out to Derek as well in the beginning of this season, was that Max Verstappen might be setting off kind of the Drive to Survive promise, you know, in the sense that Drive to Survive came in and said, listen, this is not just for the good of Formula One, this is for the good of motorsport entirely, you know. And now that those people are invested in Formula One, they're following Max Verstappen because I think it's one of those running gags in Formula One that, you know, you tell me your favorite driver, I can tell you when you got interested in the sport.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
pretty much.
So with Max Verstappen, those guys who came in around about the time that he was really successful and really at his best so far, that they might be following him into other motorsport series. But currently the rumor is, there's two rumors about Max Verstappen. One, that he'll be going to Mercedes. Given that his stints outside of Formula One have been in a Mercedes, given he's been seen hanging out with Toto Wolff a little bit more than I would be seen hanging out with my boss, you know.
Well, not your boss, but like
a future boss.
You know. Future boss.
Yeah. And then the other rumor is that he will follow Jean-Pierre Lambiase to McLaren.
That's a very big claim. And I don't know how the McLaren drivers are so integrated in that team now for how many years, and part of the success. Who are they going to kick out?
Yeah,
if Max is like knocking on the door, who are they going to say, cheers, bro?
That's my next question. And my big point here is you're saying these drivers have such a story, such a history with McLaren, but Jean-Pierre Lambiase doesn't have that story with them. I don't think he's as sentimental as, say, an Andrea Stella would be.
It's true that. But
who would you kick if you had to kick either Lando or Oscar?
This is asking very difficult question because I've got a huge fan of Mr. Piastri last year. I mean, the man had some solid drives, and then the wheels just fell off
basically
for some random reason, and Lando was there to pick up the pieces. I'm not saying I'm not a Lando fan, but some things have been questionable that the man has done, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I'm a Piastri fan. But I can't say like, oh no, let's kick Lando out. Couldn't won the whole championship.
Lando, if you're going for the story, Lando has more of a story at McLaren
exactly.
than Oscar.
So Oscar might get the boot if that ever happens, and that would be a very Titanic, how must I say, partnership.
Yeah.
If that happens, Max and Piastri.
Yeah. But
not Piastri, sorry.
I hate to rain on your party. The rumor currently is that Oscar Piastri would be the one getting the boot, and Oscar Piastri would be moving to Mercedes.
That's on the cards for sure then.
How do you think Oscar Piastri would be? Do you think his driving style would work with the current state of the Mercedes?
I think Piastri is a very smooth driver, so I think he adapts quite well. He's not like Max, which the car needs to be.
I turn now, good luck to everybody else.
Yeah, no, good job, whatever happens now. So he adapts to the car, so I think he's quite flexible in that sense. So he would do well, I think, at Mercedes then.
And the rumor is that George Russell will then be getting the boot.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
What's it? Well, it's been also a very controversial thing. Antonelli's been like on fire.
Rockstar.
So
I'm calling it now. That's my world champion this season.
Well, it's on the cards for sure. Like the pace and just everything is like he's been doing it now for 5 years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
it's his second year.
So I mean, the kid's doing very well, and he's a kid pretty much still.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what you're saying might be true.
And where does that leave George Russell? Do you think he ends up still in Formula One? Do you think he leaves racing?
I thought that
he just leaves Formula One and goes racing somewhere else?
Well, he's a very highly regarded race car driver and Formula One driver, so I doubt he'll leave the paddock. He'll definitely go to someone else, but to where? Like,
I mean, he can't go up from here.
Yeah, like he's have to go let's say back to Williams maybe because he's got relationships there, but I doubt he'll go that down the field. Like, I mean,
and who would Williams get rid of? We've got Carlos Sainz, who I think has been instrumental in
and
whatever turnaround they may have had. Alex Albon has this very long history with the team.
I think Alex might get the boot there if Russell has to take that seat, but I don't know. It's very difficult where Russell would go.
Yeah.
Ferrari's always an option. Red Bull maybe does a switcheroo, or you never know.
That's the next point I wanted to bring up. We've not yet discussed the free agent that is that Red Bull seat. Red Bull is a very big fan of promoting its junior drivers.
Big fan. Like if we go look, it's only Vettel and Verstappen that actually made the switch from up that has stayed there. The rest of the drivers like, you're not surviving in 6 races. Cheers, Drew.
Yes, but clearly Red Bull has not kind of found a fault in their junior driver program at the moment. They keep promoting junior drivers into that seat next to Max Verstappen. Do you think that there's a Red Bull junior driver that's going to get the step up from VCOB?
To be honest, if Russell's on the table, I think he's going to replace that seat. I don't think they're going to promote someone else if there's that caliber of driver available. So I'm not saying anything bad about the current VCOB drivers. They're good, but it's like there's a prime example of a very good driver. Are you going to take it or promote the rookie that you got not a rookie, but someone that has less experience. So I definitely think they'll put that. But that's also going to be a very interesting combination.
Do you think Russell will be able to adapt to the front end on the Red Bull? You know, that car's been built around Max Verstappen. This isn't even a question anymore. This is
like a fact.
This is a fact of
facts.
Life now. You know, it's been built around Max Verstappen for so long. The development has followed this trend for so long. Do you think Russell can hop into that car and drive it?
I think it's going to be very difficult, to be honest. I think it's going to be very difficult. That car has so much front end and it's so twitchy, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but like we've seen how many seasoned rookies, like we can go through the list, that's been in that second seat and they've struggled. It's a confidence thing. If you don't have confidence in what the rear end will stick, you're just not fast. You're always half a second to a second off, because you just don't want to push the car because the car's going to rotate.
Or more in the case of some
other
drivers who have
but
gotten to step up and then had to step back down. Do you think George Russell's driving style works with that front end?
He's quite aggressive, semi-max-ish. So it might work, but it's not definitely a guarantee. Like we always see Max takes out. He's on the edge always, and he can handle the car on the edge. And I think with the Mercedes always being a very more, how must I say, not on the edge car. It's still fast, but it's more...
it's a smoother
driving style. So I think after him being in the car, or that the Williams had the same philosophy over the years. So switching over from this to getting into a car that wants to kill you every second or every turn, I think it's going to be
especially
difficult.
turn 9, apparently, allegedly.
Apparently.
Okay, so do you think there are any junior drivers who end up on the grid at the moment? Because it's, you know, the Haas seat is hotly contested at the moment. Who might get it? Rumours Esteban Ocon will be booted from there.
Which is sad. I like the man, actually.
Yeah, I do. I like the story, you know.
Yeah, it's a very humble story.
Yeah. And I think he's been somewhat consistent. Maybe not George Russell levels of consistency, because if you can say one thing about George Russell, it's the man is freaking consistent. But, you know, that's a very hotly contested seat at the moment. All the kind of back-end seats are very hotly contested for the front-end teams, because they need to get junior drivers up. But currently their own teams are just so solid. Do you think anybody comes up from F2 from...
I always have a look like Pato Ward from IndyCar. I mean, he's been on the front end there.
He's been knocking on that door.
And he's been on it last year. Like, he blew the whole field apart. Like, the guys didn't know what hit them in IndyCar last year. And I would love to see some crossover again, like we saw from the 90s, you know. We saw so many IndyCar drivers crossing over into Formula 1, and they, like, kicked ass. Like, season in, they were on it. And I think he has the potential to do it for sure. So I think he could be on for it, but remember, he's a McLaren driver, so you see that's very...
Yeah, some other people who've been knocking on the door for quite some time on the Mercedes end of life, Theo Pourchaire and Fred Vesti. What do you think happens to them in this scenario? Do they stay where they are? Does their time expire while they're standing outside knocking on Mercedes' door?
It might, but we saw it now with our good friend that's been killing it at the beginning of the season. I don't know if I don't know. They've been doing it for so long. It's like, oh, you're not that fresh anymore. Like, you've been doing it for a few seasons. Like, oh, you're good, but it's not. So I doubt.
Somehow just not good enough.
Or like they just don't have the charisma. Or it's always something. And Formula 1 drivers, or the Formula 1 teams as such, always want that pizzazz or something that makes them attractive for the sponsors as well. So
I think also at some point you start optimizing to be knocking on the door and not optimizing to be a Formula 1 driver, you know.
Yeah, you're like so pushing, I just want to get in, and then
you get in, and then you
like,
realize that you forgot to
now?
actually sharpen your skills for being here instead of getting here, you know. And then there are a couple women in the works at the moment. Dorian Pan obviously made massive headlines winning her race over in the endurance series, but still her team is not that high up on the rungs.
Yeah, you see, I would love to get a woman into Formula 1 and such, but like we got which was a W series which didn't work.
It got Jamie Chadwick to be a pundit. That's
exactly, because Jamie Chadwick won that series outright for so many years, and nothing happened from it.
Yeah.
Then you got the what's the new series now? I forgot what the name is.
F1 Academy.
Yeah, Academy. Like half of the drivers, like Leah Block, is like just totally binned her Formula career and just said, I'm back to rally now. Because she's got the...
Alba Larson also currently in F1 Academy. Let me have it. P9.
But you see, I don't know, like everybody's pushing the women in motorsport thing, which I'm glad to hear and see, and everything's happening, but that's it.
It also needs to happen organically. They have to actually,
Like we're pushing it, which is nice, but it's not, like you say, there's no F3 driver or woman like really pushing it from there. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah. So I thought that they will come through.
Maybe we get a surprise and Marta Garcia makes it all the way. She was the inaugural champion for F1 Academy. Maybe she just shoots right through.
Get some momentum going, but
and through goes Hamilton. Thank you so much for joining us, Adriaan Nel. There is a lot to play for on your Formula One driver market, so we'll have to see what happens over our silly season. Formula One goes racing at the place it first went racing at in 1950. That is the converted airfield that we know as the Silverstone track. Let's have a look. So your first Grand Prix, as I mentioned, is in 1950. If you don't know it yet, the first ever Formula One Grand Prix held here at Silverstone, which was converted from an airfield back then. The circuit length is 0.891 kilometers, which means 52 laps brings you just over the mandated race distance of 306.198 kilometers for your entire race. Lap record still held by Lewis Hamilton, which is set here in 2019 at 1 minute 27.369 seconds. So Lewis Hamilton also the last winner here. Or last winning here with Mercedes, and then we have a look at some of the other circuit statistics for you there. So for Silverstone, your first Grand Prix, like I said, was in 1950. There are 60 Grand Prix wins. 62% of these wins have been with the safety car since 1993. Most wins here by driver Lewis Hamilton ruling the roost there with 9 wins at his home race. Alain Prost with 5 wins and Jim Clark with 3 wins. Then moving on to some other statistics about the track specifically that might be useful for the race this weekend. So the most constructor wins are for Ferrari, so it's looking very, very good for Lewis Hamilton and the Ferrari, given that he's the driver who's won the most with the constructor who's won the most at Silverstone. Then McLaren with 13 wins, Mercedes with 9 wins, and then the most wins by grid position is a classic good old 1, 2, 3. First position has won 22 times, second position has won 18 times, and third position has won 9 times. So pole will be statistically very important here. Your pit loss is about 19.9 seconds. Silverstone also has quite a quirky pit entrance. With kind of a straight entrance, which makes it hard for drivers. It also cuts a couple of corners, so there will likely be race directors' notes about that. Silverstone is also an undercut track due to the high-speed corners. I'm talking specifically Maggots and Beckett's here. I'm looking at you. High-speed corners which cause high tire degradation. So if you can be on fresher tires, and the only caveat in those fresher tires in the undercut strategy is if the temperatures are cold, which it currently is not in Europe. So we'll see you at Silverstone this weekend. It was a busy weekend in the Formula One stewards room over the past weekend, and I think it got not busier but potentially louder as hordes of Formula One fans were upset about a penalty not given to George Russell during qualifying. Let's have a look. So the upset comes from a yellow flag infringement, or an alleged yellow flag infringement. So there's a difference between a single waved and a double waved yellow. And specifically dealing with the waving of yellow flags is the FIA's International Sporting Code Appendix H, Article 2.5.5b. So the difference between a single wave, so single waved yellows are given for incidents where something is obstructing the track partly or is off to the side, which Max Verstappen was when he crashed. George Russell, in the press conference post-qualifying, said that he didn't even see Max Verstappen. He only saw the single waved yellow. And at the time that George Russell passed through turn 9, where Max Verstappen had crashed, it was a single waved yellow. It took about 15 seconds to be escalated to a double waved yellow. Now, a double waved yellow is given specifically in cases where something is mostly obstructing the track or where there are marshals on the track clearing debris. So here we see the regulations for a single waved yellow. Drivers are expected to reduce their speed, not overtake, be prepared to change direction as there is a hazard beside or partly on the track. So the FIA stipulates that it must be evident that drivers have reduced speed. They're expected to have braked earlier and or noticeably reduced speed in that sector where there is a single waved yellow. So the FIA and the stewards will have access to all of this data, all of George Russell's telemetry data, to determine whether he did brake earlier than he normally would have at that turn. But here are the regulations for a double waved yellow. And in the case of a double waved yellow, a driver is expected to abandon a meaningful lap time. So they're expected to reduce their speed significantly, not overtake, be prepared to change direction or stop wholly, which is different from a single waved yellow, or partly, given that there's something blocking the track or marshals working on or beside the track. During qualifying, this is exactly the point. During practice and qualifying, it must be evident that a driver has not attempted to set a meaningful lap time, so they must completely abandon the lap. Now, like I said, at the time that George Russell passed through turn 9, turn 10, you can go watch his onboard, it is freely available. At the time that he passed through turn 9, turn 10, it was a single waved yellow because there were no marshals on the track and the accident had happened off to the side of the track. Like he said, Max Verstappen was so far away, he couldn't even see the accident from where he was. So it had happened off to the side, there was a car parked off to the side, which justifies a single waved yellow. And then when the marshals came up to clear the debris on the track, that justifies a double waved yellow. And that is the full explanation on George Russell's penalty at the Austrian Grand Prix. But there were some other interesting penalties as well, including a blue flag. So this is for Fernando Alonso, car number 14, who was summoned for an alleged blue flag infringement. The stewards then looked at telemetry data, looked at all the onboards and so on and so forth, and determined that the car behind car number 5, being Gabriel Bortoleto, was neither trying to overtake Fernando Alonso was not in close enough proximity to overtake Fernando Alonso freely. So a blue flag, if you are very new to Formula One, a blue flag is waved to somebody when they are getting lapped. It's an indication that they have to get out of the way for the necessary car. So while there were blue flags waved at Fernando Alonso, the stewards found that there was no meaningful impact on the race and thus no penalty was given. And the same was said for Lance Stroll, car number 18. Let's have a look there. Same regulation, same blue flags waved, but this time it was found that car 41 was neither trying to overtake nor was it in close enough proximity to car number 14, that is Lance Stroll, to move away immediately. So again, no meaningful effect on the outcome of the race for the entire race or for that driver specifically, and thus no action was taken by the stewards. That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Lights Out. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember that you can catch Lights Out every Friday at 5:30 on network television DSTV 285 and GoTV 25, as well as oneup2.com. But until we see you back here next week, from me, Irene Marie van der Walt, and the Lights Out team, drive it like you stole it.